In 1851, the cause of law and order in San Francisco got a boost when one of our so-called justices of the peace caught a brisket full of lead in a fight over a dance hall queen. After his assailant was convicted, we held a special election to fill the vacancy. The Vigilante Committee ran Hector Jones, a lawyer, as its candidate.
I propose to banish this reign of terror, this rule of violence and anarchy that prevails in our courts. And I promise you, my friends, that if you come before me, you will receive swift justice according to the laws of our land. Thank you.
Those men out there, the ones who are cheering, they don't know what a mistake they've made, Mrs. McGivern. The mistake your husband made in backing Hector. But I know.
How can you say that about your own husband?
Because he is my husband. I know him. He isn't big enough, nor man enough for the job.
California, California,
the Californians.
California, I've come to live where life is best. In the Golden West, I'm gonna strike it rich in California. California.
Although a recent arrival in San Francisco, Jones had created an excellent impression through his knowledge of law and outspoken condemnation of corruption in the courts. Jones was endorsed by Jack McGivern and supported by the California Star.
Hey, saving my best bottle of Irish for an occasion just like this.
Well, I don't know how to thank you, gentlemen, for your support in the campaign.
We should be thanking you, Judge.
Just a moment, gentlemen. I think we should have it understood. You need expect no special favor from my court.
No, we don't want favors. We want exactly what you promised. Fair administration of the laws.
Well, gentlemen, to justice, gentlemen, and your first day on the bench.
Susan! Blackie Stewart.
Hello, Hector. Well, aren't you glad to see me?
Why did you come here? Why can't you let me alone?
Why, Hector, is that any way to greet an old friend?
What do you want?
I just dropped by to congratulate you on your victory. Your honor.
How did you find me?
I'll never lose you. Well, now we can do business for each other.
No.
Just like old times. You sit on the bench, I dictate the verdict.
I said no.
Did you, sir?
Please.
Don't you ever say no to me, you yellow-bellied rat. I'll ruin you, just like I've ruined you in a dozen other towns. You're gonna do what I tell you until you can't stand the public shame and the contempt of the people who had confidence in you. And then you'll run, like you've run before, because you're afraid of me. But I'll find you just like I found you this time. And then we'll play the game over and over until you die. Good night, Hector. I'm sorry to disturb you at such a late hour, Mrs. Jones. Good night.
Open your eyes, Hector. He's gone. Started again, hasn't it? Why can't you be a man? Why can't you stand up to him?
We had our first taste of the new justice within a week. A Sydney duck was brought up on assault with intent to commit robbery. It looked like an open and shut case for conviction.
According to the affidavits of the arresting officers, the accused was seen when he attacked one Manuel Garcia. However, no warrant was obtained for this arrest. It is the opinion of this court that such arrest was illegal. In the absence of sworn information and warrant, the court therefore directs that this action be null prost and the prisoner released from custody.
So what's going on here, McGivern? I don't know, but I intend to find out. Come on.
Hello, Jack. Jen.
What was the meaning of this outrageous ruling, Your Honor?
It was a point of law, Mr. McGivern. In all justice, I couldn't have ruled otherwise.
Justice? Here you had an open and shut case.
My decision was a perfectly legal one.
Let me ask you something, Judge Jones. Is this the way you intend to administer justice?
I warn you, Mr. McGivern, you are flirting with contempt of court.
Flirting with it? Now let me tell you something, Jones.
Bailiff.
There's a stench in this court, and I've got a sensitive nose.
We supported Jones' election at your behest. He's turned sour. We want to know why. Or if he was sour before we elected him.
Now, stop beating around the bush, Coleman. Are you accusing me of being crooked?
The vigilantes can't afford the kind of talk that's going around that we elected a crooked judge. Jones is your snake, McGivern. It's up to you to scotch him. That's all we have to say. Good night.
Good night.
During the next couple of weeks, San Francisco was treated to an amazing display of justice in Hector Jones' court. There were flashes of keen, astute judgment, but in almost his next breath, desperate criminals who had been caught red-handed were turned loose on little or no pretext. And always, his eyes fixed on the judge with cold amusement, you would see Blackie Stewart lounging under the eyes of the bench. Game open?
Never closes.
All right, deal.
I've seen you around, friend.
That's possible.
Seems we share an interest in seeing justice done. Sorry, try again.
All right, only this time deal in the box, huh? I think our mutual interest is in the judge. Why are you giving orders to Jones?
Because I like to see him crawl.
You mean it gives you pleasure?
Sure does.
Why is he taking your orders?
He's afraid of me.
Why?
Because he's a thief.
Who did he rob?
Me.
If you want to talk, go ahead and talk.
You trying to kill your conscience with that stuff? It won't work.
You have no business coming into my house and insulting me.
I have every right to demand an explanation for your official conduct.
I answer to no one for my conduct, sir.
You'll answer to me and the vigilantes who supported you. What does Blackie Stewart have to do with your court decisions?
I never heard of the man.
He says you're a thief. You stole from him. What did you steal from Blackie Stewart? What gives him a hold over you? Answer me. What did you steal from Blackie Stewart?
I'll answer that, Mr. Patrick. Me. He stole me. Stop looking like a whipped dog, Hector. What did you want to know, Mr. Patrick?
Susan, leave the room.
Well, Mr. Patrick,
What do you mean your husband stole you from Stewart?
I was Blackie Stewart's girl.
That isn't true. You mustn't believe her.
Would I say a thing like that if it weren't true?
Go on.
I was Blackie's girl back in Memphis. Then Jones came along. Let's just say I fell for him.
Tell him the rest. Tell him how Blackie Stewart treated you.
At least he was a man, Hector. Not an easy man, Mr. Patrick. Sometimes a cruel and brutal one, but a man. Jones was sweet. A nice man with nice ways. He had respectability, class. A successful lawyer. He was a good catch. How many times have we changed our name, Hector?
Why'd you do that?
To get away from Blackie Stewart. We've made a life of dodging Blackie. We've made sudden moves, even left all our belongings behind. But it wasn't any use. Sooner or later, Blackie always found us. This wretched business would start all over again.
Does Stewart still want you that much?
Yes. Blackie doesn't like to lose his possessions. Besides, I think he's still in love with me, in his own way. And I...
Don't listen to her, Patrick. She doesn't know what she's saying. You love me. You know you love me.
How long can I go on? I'm tired of running.
You mustn't believe all these things she's saying. She doesn't mean them.
Why don't you stand up to Stewart? Get it over with once and for all.
I told you, he can't. Blackie has the Injun sign on him. He's afraid.
Mister, you're in trouble. If you can't get Stewart off your back, we'll climb on too.
We? What do you mean, we?
The vigilantes. When we make mistakes, we correct them. And if you think Stewart's tough, you haven't seen anything yet. We'll hit you so hard you won't stop bouncing till you're 100 miles from San Francisco. The man's a real mess. Stewart controls him like a puppet.
Yes, and we're stuck with him.
Not necessarily. If we get a signed statement that he's misused his office, we can run him right out of town.
You'll never get him to sign it.
He'll sign. You get the statement ready, Jack, and I'll bring Jones back. We'll settle this business tonight.
Well, that's fine, but what are we going to use for corroborative evidence?
I'll try to get Stewart to talk, but even if he won't, Jones can be persuaded to sign. We'll make him. It's like William Coleman said, it's up to us to kill our own snakes.
Suppose I had something on Jones. What makes you think I testified?
You could tell plenty.
Mr. Patrick, the dispute between Jones and myself is a purely personal one. I'd resent anyone interfering.
I'm interfering, Stewart.
And you'll probably be tangling with me.
Mister, I don't like anything about you. I say let's tangle right now and see who walks away from it.
I have no intention of fighting you, Patrick. Yet. I should probably kill you. That'll be most inconvenient for both of us.
I'll take you knuckle and skull, no holds barred. The loser leaves town.
Gamecock, huh? No, not yet.
You afraid?
Mr. Patrick, if you knew me better, you'd know I'm not afraid. Not of you, not of anything. Excuse me.
Jones? Come on. This is the end of the road for you, Jones. You're coming with me to sign a statement of your misdeeds in office.
She's gone. Susan is gone.
I know. I saw her getting on the stage.
She couldn't stand it anymore. She left. What will I do?
I don't care what you do. I want you out of town.
Will she come back to me?
She's a fool if she does.
I've got to have her back.
Well, you never will. Come on, let's get moving.
I gave up everything for her. Everything.
If she meant so much to you, you'd never have put up with Stewart.
You want me to fight him?
Why not? Are you that afraid of a beating?
Yes, I suppose I am. It's not the pain, the physical pain that I mind. It's something more than that. I can't explain it.
You know a gun is a big equalizer.
Stewart knows how to handle a gun. I don't.
Look, if you want your wife to even think of coming back to you, you've got to get rid of Stewart.
You think Susan has left me for good?
I'm sure of it. What woman with an ounce of self-respect would stay with a man like you?
Well, we've got company. Makes His Honor and Mr. Patrick a drink. You know, His Honor and I have a lot in common. His wife and
Only a dirty scoundrel bandies a decent woman's name in a barroom.
You've been drinking tiger milk, Hector?
You're dirty, Stewart, and rotten. You're dirty and rotten.
You're really asking for it.
One move for that belly gun, Stewart, and you're dead.
As a gentleman of honor, I have the right to demand satisfaction.
Are you challenging me?
What else do you expect?
In that case, I have the choice of weapons.
Name them.
Blasting powder.
What do you mean?
Keep out of this, Patrick. We'll seat ourselves beside a keg of blasting powder. The fuse will be lighted. The first man to leave loses and leaves town.
Hardly a gentleman's weapon, huh? Then you were never a gentleman. And when does this fantastic affair take place?
Tomorrow at noon.
Where?
In Freeman's Field, where everyone can see who runs first.
Shouldn't have let it go this far, Dean. You shouldn't have pressed Jones so hard. This whole thing reflects on the vigilante movement.
Maybe too late to stop it.
You've got to stop it. Go and find his wife and bring her back here. Maybe she can knock some sense into his head.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Stewart, I ask you as a reasonable man to call off this affair.
Jones made his brag, let him back it up.
In the name of heaven, do you continue with this persecution?
Strange what a man will do for a woman, huh? I wonder if she's worth it.
Mrs. Jones, you've got to come back to San Francisco with me.
Why?
Your husband and Blackie Stewart, they're fighting a duel.
Hector and Blackie Stewart? Oh, Hector will crawl out of it as usual.
I don't think he's gonna crawl. He'll go ahead with it if it kills him.
Well, let it.
There's a good chance both men may be killed.
Both men?
That's right, both men.
All right, I'll go with you.
Did you talk to them?
Yes, I did, but it was a waste of time. Stewart said it's up to Jones to withdraw, and Jones refuses.
After what I've heard, I didn't think he could be that brave.
For the last time, I must ask you both not to go through with this.
Let's start the ball.
All right, Bill, there's nothing more we can do here.
It's the idea of hiding the fuse.
So neither of us will know how much time is left before it reaches the powder.
Shall you light it or will I? Why don't you cut and run now, Hector? Save a lot of sweat. Go on, Hector. I'll come out after you. Time's getting short, Hector.
There can't be much fuse left now.
I'd say less than a minute. Somebody better move.
I never saw the day I couldn't break you. I've broken you in every town we ever made. Break now! Break! If you're doing this for Susan, stop. She doesn't love you, she hates you. Why don't we call it a draw? We can both walk out of here. Where do you think she is now? She's waiting for me, do you understand? Susan's waiting for me.
You're lying.
Let me go! Let me go!
You deserve each other. As long as you live, you'll regret that I kicked that keg of powder away. Gentlemen, mind shaking hands with the sinner?
Not if he's a reform sinner, no.
I'm only sorry to be leaving San Francisco under a cloud. It's a fine city. I had such great hopes when I came here. Great hopes.
Well, it's better for you to make a fresh start some other place.
Yes, it will be a fresh start without her and without the threat of Blackie Stewart hanging over me. Very much indebted to you, gentlemen, for all you've done. And one bit of advice before I go. Don't be so quick in putting men in office until you know their deepest depths. That is sound legal advice, and it's free.
Yes, I suppose we were impulsive and quick to judgment. Well, I hope it's taught us a lesson.
Yep, we've all had a lesson in growing up.
California. Oh, I've traveled here, I've traveled there. I guess I've been most everywhere. But I like where I am today, and here is where I'll stay. Now, one thing I just can't endure is being broke and being poor. So I come west to take the cure, and here is where I'll stay. I've come to California, California. There's gold in them there hills in California. I've come to live where life is best, in the golden west. I'm gonna strike it rich in California, California, California. There's gold in them there hills in California.